Alright, good morning guys. Quick sound check. Let me know you guys can hear me. Sound check 1, 2. Awesome. Good morning. What's going on, guys? Appreciate that. Happy Monday. It is July 29th. What do we have? We got 2 more days left in July, right? Yep, 2 more days left in July. Very nice. Well, so I'm still down in South Carolina at the moment. Listened to Perry this morning as well. Took a look at the charts. We'll go through those in a couple minutes. And went through kind of the Forex Factory calendar this morning. There's really nothing on the board for today until later on. JPY news, which is tentative time frames for some BOJ outlook reports, some monetary policy statements, stuff like that. And what I'm seeing so far, again, I'll go through the charts, but I'm just not seeing much of a trade setup here today. So for me, it's probably going to be a no trade day. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go through the morning trade plan here, excuse me, and any ideas that I have, thoughts and stuff like that could potentially set up for today, which I think there is actually one decent play in there. Not my favorite, but not the worst either. And then from there, I'm going to be headed back to Virginia, so not going to do the morning power hour this morning. Just got a couple more things I need to finish up here. If you guys were following the Instagram stories and stuff, we did finally get solar put on the house down here, and brought the drone down to get a couple more things done with that. And then just to give you guys a schedule for this week here, I get back tonight. We are going to finish loading up and packing up the house tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, we actually finally moved into the new place. So it'll be a little bit hectic for me the first couple of days of the week here. Monday, there's really nothing on the docket like we talked about here. Tuesday, we've got some news around 10 a.m. there. Wednesday here, we're looking at a little stuff at 8:30. And then later on at 2 o'clock, we've got the FOMC statement. And then at 2:30, we got the FOMC press conference. So my goal here is, what I would like to be able to do is take off a little bit early on Tuesday. We go to closing, unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, at 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning. So I'm not going to be able to stream the morning power hour or anything like that on Wednesday. What I'll do though is I'll hit the office Tuesday night, make a video for Wednesday for what I'm looking for on the day. I'll post that in the Discord, and then Wednesday, depending on how much stuff we can get done, I'll slip back out, head over to the office, and stream FOMC at 2 o'clock. So I'm gonna miss basically the morning session for sure on Wednesday because of closing. Today, just because I don't necessarily see that there's anything really to do. Tomorrow is kind of up in the air depending on how much stuff we get done after we get back this evening, and all that kind of stuff. So just to give you guys a overview for my week, it's going to be a pretty busy week here, and I'm excited for it though. Ready to be in the new place and kind of all that fun stuff, and I can get gigabit internet there too, which is nice. Uh-oh. What'd I do? Back. You guys can see my screen again? Yes. Whoa, there it goes. All right, cool. All right, so let's dive in, take a look at the charts this morning. Hey, thanks, Quinn. Yeah, second closing in less than 30 days here, so there's been a lot of stuff happening lately. But anyways, taking a look at the S&Ps here, we've got overnight highs up to 30.27 quarter, overnight lows down to 30.20s here. So we've got like a 7-point range. And like Perry said, if you have a honey-do list today or something like that, I think it's a good day to do it. Clean out the closet, do whatever you got to do. But realistically, the play that I think is somewhat decent here on the day is what I think will end up happening is we'll kind of push up through. I've got a level in place here, 30, 27, 75s. Again, we traded 27 quarters in the overnight session. What I think most likely we'll end up seeing today is one of two scenarios. Number one is we're opening here right around 30, 25s or so. What I think might happen is we can open it around there. We either sell back off under, say, 30, 20s, the overnight lows, and then start to kind of rally back. Or we open at 30, 25s, we sell off, we sell off, we rally up into 30, 27, 75, somewhere through there. And then from that point, we start working our way back down and kind of break those 30, 20s and just kind of expand this range a little bit on the day. So if we break through lows first, then I think we'll most likely end up going back through highs. If we break the overnight highs here first thing this morning, then I think we'll kind of come back down towards the lows. Again, if we get confirmation closes above these levels of 30, 27, 75s, then I think we can anticipate a little bit higher prices here, but I don't think it's going to be something substantial that gives us good risk reward to either buy a pullback of a breakout or anything like that here this morning for the S&Ps. Again, we do have a lot of news coming out later this week, and the market knows that. Obviously, we had a pretty decent move last week. I mean, if you're taking into consideration, this is Monday of last week. We opened at 29.84s. Well, and this is on Monday morning at least. The market rallied essentially 50 points from that open and essentially from the lows down here as well. So lows 29.78 50s. We rallied 50 points in the S&Ps out of that, and that's a pretty decent sized move here. So I do think that the market is well aware of what's to come this week, and most likely today and a little bit of tomorrow, pending any earnings releases and things like that could kind of move without the market itself, will most likely end up being a little bit sideways today and tomorrow. All right, moving over to the Nasdaq here. Nasdaq, similar thing. I've got a 80-36 quarter in place, and what's interesting about this actually is, so S&P's got 2 ticks away from their resistance level, if you will, for the day. Nasdaq here traded up into a high for the overnight session of 31.75s. So we didn't quite get as much of a rally in the overnight session. We were 5 points away or so from the 80-36 quarter level here, and right now we've got S&P's up 0.02%, Nasdaq up 0.07%, the Russell up 0.04, and the Dow up 0.07. So Nasdaq and Dow here are the 2 strongest on the board, but the Nasdaq can't quite get as much of a rally as the Nasdaq did today. So similar situation here with the Nasdaq, where I'm looking for a move up into 80-36 quarters if we can at some point today, and then from there I think we can kind of fade back off that level and kind of close this gap. We're only gapping up like 7 points here, so it's not like it's too substantial for the Nasdaq, but we're pretty much gapping between, like right in between that kind of pivot level of 80-36 quarters and the closing print from Friday. Then what I think again we'll see is kind of that pop up there to 80-36 quarters that ends up failing, excuse me, and then kind of brings this market back down, and maybe we even get closer to that $8,000 number at some point on the day. I would not necessarily be too surprised to see that. Lows were 80.02s, excuse me, so 8,002 there. So it would not be out of the ordinary or out of the norm there to see the Nasdaq have like a 35-point range here on the day, and it's just right inside of basically Friday's action there. All right, moving over to the Russell here. Russell's a little bit different here. So Russell's got a couple other things working for it here. We've got overnight highs in there, 83.50, overnight lows, 78.30s. So we have a 5-point range in the overnight session in there. Again, Russell has a support level in a little bit lower down in here at 1573.90. So we couldn't quite reach that. We got about 5 points away from hitting that. yesterday in the overnight session here for the Russell, and we've got highs that come in kind of up in here as a level up in place at about 1583.80s. The overnight highs here so far for the Russell are 1583.50s, and 82.1 is basically where we're currently trading at here. So the Russell is actually, in light of the rest of what this chart ends up looking like here, the Russell is actually kind of the strongest on the day, considering where it's kind of gapping to and the strength it's shown and stuff like that in the overnight session. Percentage change, definitely not the strongest here on the day. But in terms of pure price structure, where it's at, it is the strongest market at the moment. So if anything, if you're looking for longs on the day, let Russell get above 1583.80s, give some type of confirmations in there, or let it pull back to 1573.90s. I don't think we're pulling back to 1573.90s on the day for the Russell, but again, the Russell can do whatever it wants to do, obviously, and it can have an explosive day like this on Wednesday where it just has 6 hourly bars straight to the upside there, and just blows out of any expectations that you could have possibly had for it there. And I think that was like a 30-some point move that the Russell ended up having that day. I don't think we're going to see that today, but again, anything is possible here with the Russell. So in terms of order of preference of plays here, I like the S&Ps and I like the Nasdaq both kind of equally there as a fade, playing the range back and forth on the day. The Russell here, if it does for some reason break through 1583.80s and start showing really good signs of strength, get confirmation closes above there, even as low as like a 15-minute chart, I think you can play in that. Just make sure your risk-reward ratio is good for targets above in the Russell. Otherwise, I think it's kind of one of those days where it could be a fake out in the Russell. Imagine that. But again, if it does end up going, I do think it's worth the risk-reward. It's having these big moves. When that big day will be, we don't exactly know yet. Again, I don't think it will be today. But if the risk-reward is there, then I think it's worth taking a look at. Moving over to the Dow here. The Dow is the weakest market by far at the moment. So we've got essentially all the rest of the markets are outside of the Russell are putting in new all-time highs here within the past few days. The Dow here has basically gone sideways to, I can't even really call this a downtrend, but slightly to a downtrend here. We kind of broke through lows, little failure to go lower there, rallying it back some. Currently 27,175s, so we're literally gapping up like 5 points here from the close, 27,170 to 27,173s right now. And we're not even really clearing what is this kind of top here at the moment. Which is going to come in, which is going to come in kind of right in through. If that'll snap, there we go. 27,177s there. So for the Dow here, we've got that level in place, and then we've actually got another level down below here that if we break this will actually be kind of interesting. 27,133s, and in the overnight session we traded down to 27,112s and as high as 27,183s here. So we did in fact break this 27,133s in the overnight session so far. And that actually ended up pushing us down, kind of 27,112s right in through here. Again, what I'm thinking on the day for the Dow is going to be much of the same, which is just kind of range bound between 27,177 and 27,133 here for the Dow. Again, it is the weaker market. I don't like it as much to the long side. I do think at some point, though, depending on if this market is actually going to break out, that the Dow could catch up. But at the moment, that does not look like something the Dow is necessarily interested in doing here. Again, it could have essentially, what the Russell had, a 30-point move the other day. The Dow could end up having, a 300-point move here. But most likely, I think that's probably going to have to wait until Wednesday for FOMC, and if we're still holding uptrends at that point, then we can see if that's a possibility or not. Anyways, that's what I've got for this morning here for the four main indices. I've got a couple minutes to go. If there's any stocks you guys want me to take a look at here that either have earnings coming out this week or a position that you currently have on, anything like that, feel free to go ahead and punch those into either the Discord or the chat now. I'll take a look at those since I'm not going to be trading with you guys live this morning. I'll take a look at those for you and give you my kind of thoughts and analysis on those here for the next couple minutes. So go ahead and punch those in, and I'm going to mute the mic for 1 second. Yeah, I can take a look at Apple here. APL. Or are you talking? I don't think APPL is a symbol, right? Are you on Apple or are you on Appel Petroleum? I'm assuming Apple, right? This thing's not loading. Yeah, let's take a look at Apple here. So Apple this morning looking like 208.40s. So gapping up just a little bit there. Um, this thing does have earnings coming up. I believe it's tomorrow, right? Yeah, today's the 29th. So tomorrow after the bell. I was hearing Perry talk about this. Apple's typically not going to report till like 4:30 or so, and like he was saying, the Nadex trade is not really a viable something to do there. I would venture to say, I mean, given the strength of this chart, it's really hard for me to say that you should fade Apple on an earnings announcement. This is a weekly chart of Apple. You can see, I mean, back in the 2000s, essentially the stock was trading for like $3-4. And now it's 200 and some change here. I would probably peg Apple to take out this high up in here, which is 215.31. Looks like earnings expected move is about $8.38 here. So that would actually be pretty much in line with taking out this 215 up here. And if Apple can actually blow out and have a stellar performance, we could see this thing, rocking its way back up into the 230 handle up in there. Take a look at the daily here. Daily chart in there. Yeah, it looks poised for a nice little breakout there. I like Apple to the upside. I'll take a look at some of the options and what's kind of priced up in there, and maybe look to do something around the 225 to 230 strike up in there for some upside potential with some type of butterfly or something if that makes sense. In terms of risk reward here, I can tell you real quickly. So the 230s for this week actually are 10 cents at the moment. 227.50s are 15. The 225s are 25 cents. 220s are 60 cents. I don't think this is priced right. Those should probably change a lot at the open, I would imagine. There's no way they're with an 8-point expected move, they're going to give you the 220 call options for 60 cents here. And that's what it looks like they're currently trading at, but I don't see that being a reality here after the opening bell this morning. I'll keep an eye on it though and see if there is something to potentially put on in there. Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, that's what I got for this morning here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. You guys have a great trading day if you are going to trade. If not, I like Perry's advice, and it's the same advice I'm going to give myself as well, which is if you have something else to do or a honey-do list, then feel free to go ahead and do that. Cash is a position sitting on hands. There's nothing wrong with that. So be sure to protect that capital. If there's not a good trade setup on the day, on the week, in that particular stock, in that particular instrument, then there's just no reason that you have to trade it. There's no one with a gun to your head saying, hey, you got to put on a position today, outside of just that little dude that sits on your shoulder that you're battling with each and every day. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out. I will see you guys back here tomorrow. I'll be back in Virginia. Hope you guys all had a great weekend, and I'll see you guys then. Take care. Trade safe today.